Welcome to UK Expats in Italy Brexit Update, Buying Property After Brexit. The gov.uk website has a page dedicated to buying property overseas, which is a good starting point for anyone considering either moving to Italy to live permanently, or to buy a holiday home as a base for regular visits and holidays. But, does the following information from that site offer a common-sense approach to help you acquire your dream property in Italy? The information on the website is not to be relied upon as being definitive advice in any shape or form, because it's a generalization of some of the main steps to seriously consider, and because of this, the article applies to buying property in any overseas country, not just in Italy. Throughout this article, bear in mind that it's equally applicable to timeshare purchases and deals, and to renting out your property in Italy. Here are some of those major considerations as set out on the gov.uk site. You can find the URL link for this in the description box below this video, which I've referenced to Italy to make it sound more specific to Italian property, sprinkled with additional tips, plus emphasizing in capitals or bold text where I think a particular point needs to be taken note of. Number 1. The Italian legal system. If you're considering buying a property in Italy, you'll need to bear in mind that the legal system and steps to follow may be very different from those you've experienced in the UK. Note, the steps to follow will be different. This guide is intended as practical tips to seriously consider when buying a property or timeshare in Italy. Number 2. Top tips for buying a property in Italy. The following also applies where you're considering renting out your property. 1. Always research and follow local laws on buying and renting out property. 2. Always get written confirmation of what's been agreed in any negotiations, and always insist on a paper, preferably not electronic, receipt for monies paid. Note, keep all receipts, as these will be used for a number of reasons, such as for tax purposes, legal purposes, enabling your utilities to be switched on, and if you apply to be a resident of Italy at any time in the future. For the following tips, seriously consider employing the services of a solicitor, lawyer, to undertake all of the following. 3. Check that the seller or property developer owns the title deeds to the property or land and can transfer them to you. If buying brand new, or partially built, from a developer, check that the title deeds for the property in question actually exist. 4. Check that the deeds to the property or land have not been offered as collateral for any loans. 5. Check whether the owner has outstanding utility bills, local tax demands etc., that you may be liable for on purchase of the property. 6. Check that all utilities such as water, sewage and electricity are connected and that you'll be able to use them. 7. Talk to other property owners in the area or on the development to establish if there are any issues you should be aware of before buying, such as floods in winter, a lack of water or electricity supplies in summer. 8. Ask the developer to show you some projects they've completed, and talk to owners of properties on these developments to see if they've had any problems. 9. Establish whether the developer has outstanding commitments to utility suppliers to bring water, sewage, electricity, gas and other vital services to the development. 10. Consider drawing up a will in Italy, to ensure that those you wish to inherit your property and assets in Italy actually do so, as inheritance laws do differ to that of the UK. Note, also, make sure there is no conflict between your UK will and your Italian will. Not only should your solicitor cover all of the above points, but you will also be aware of what your solicitor should be covering for you. Don't be afraid to clarify all of these points with him or her at the time you appoint them, and as the purchase progresses. If anything, it'll keep them on their toes and make them realize that you're fully aware of the process being followed. Having made all of your inquiries and undertaken your due diligence tasks, ask yourself if you're satisfied in your own mind that you can go ahead with the purchase of the property in question without encountering problems. Note, if you're intending to buy the property as an investment property to make a profit each year, make sure your estimates and budgets are clear, realistic and give you confidence to buy. Always have a plan B and a plan C in place, and think with your head, not with your heart. If you're not satisfied with the results from your inquiries and due diligence, either make more checks, or walk away from the transaction or deal. Note, it's so easy to get caught up in the splendor and wonder of the fantastic property in front of you as you view it, with an estate agent, as they roll off the superlatives from their tongue. So remember this, there will be another deal of the century, around the corner, or coming onto the market tomorrow or next week. Number 3. Seek independent legal advice. This goes without saying, but for some people it needs to be said. Many property owners encounter problems with their property because they didn't seek independent legal advice, and instead, used lawyers and translators and interpreters who were recommended by the estate agent or developer, and in some cases were acting for both parties. Note, this means that they're not independent and impartial and, therefore, there's a conflict of interest, so be aware. Number 4. Appoint an independent English-speaking lawyer who's licensed to practice, and is experienced in property sales. Again, this goes without saying, but for some people it needs to be said. If you choose to work with a British estate agent, promoter or lawyer, check that they're qualified to practice both in the UK and in Italy, and that they're reliable and have experience of operating in Italy. Also, check that they're registered with the UK Law Society, and specialise in Italian property transactions. You should also check that your lawyer has professional indemnity insurance. Number 5. Use an independent translator or interpreter. If you don't have a good understanding of the Italian language, make sure that you get all contracts and relevant documentation translated by an independent translator, and that an interpreter accompanies you to all meetings. Again, be wary of using a translator or interpreter that's been recommended by the agent or lawyer. Number 6. Mortgages. Appoint a mortgage broker. Irrespective of whether you fund your property purchase with a mortgage from the UK, or with an Italian mortgage, take note of the following. 1. Do your homework. You should analyze and compare a range of different products and services offered by different lending companies. 2. Do not automatically take a mortgage recommended by the seller or their agent. 3. If you've any doubts about the terms and conditions, ask the lender to clarify. 4. Look for the mortgage which is most appropriate for your capabilities and needs. With any mortgage, you should always pay special attention to the interest rate and repayment period, the fees for setting up the mortgage, as well as early repayment, sometimes referred to as redemption, and cancellation fees. Make sure you fully understand the mortgage agreement you sign. Your mortgage broker should help you with all of the above. Just like with your solicitor, the fact that you're aware of the above, and that you'll ask questions concerning the above as you go through the mortgage process, will help keep them on their toes to ensure that you get the best possible service in your property buying transaction. Also, consider the impact of fluctuations of the euro against the pound sterling, and how any changes may affect any interest rate rises on your repayments. Note, this is crucial to understand, and if you don't, then ask someone such as your local bank manager or accountant or your solicitor to do so. Number 7. Additional costs. Just as there would be if you were buying a property in the UK, there will be a range of other costs besides the purchase price when buying a property in Italy. Other than those normally incurred in the UK, these may include 1. Fees for a financial advisor to manage your tax affairs both in the UK and overseas. You may be liable to pay tax if the property is sold. Note, there will likely be tax to pay if you sell at a profit. 2. Fees for a chartered surveyor or quantity surveyor. 3. Mortgage fees. These will include a mortgage broker fee, an arrangement or opening fee, and an administrative fee for the bank to appoint a representative to manage the payment of taxes, and the inscription of the title in the property register. 4. International bank transfer fees. Note, see the URL link in the description box below this video in respect of TransferWise, a company that can save you significant bank charges. 5. A banker's draft, bank guaranteed check fee. Note, with the ongoing efficiency improvements and developments in technology, physical drafts and checks may no longer be used. However, Italy isn't exactly at the forefront of technological change, so be prepared for the vendor's representatives insisting on payments to be by a banker's draft and/or bank guaranteed checks. 6. Fees to arrange for a power of attorney, if required. 7. Furniture, shipping and insurance costs. 8. Legal fees to make a will. Note, this should include both your will in the UK, even if it is just amending your current will, as well as the will in Italy. 9. Translation fees. 10. Connection fees for water, sewage, electricity, gas and any other essential services. Number 8. Ongoing and running costs. As in the UK, once you have bought the property there will be various ongoing costs, which will include 1. Annual property taxes. Note, depending on where in Italy you buy your property, there could be more than one property-related tax. 2. Refuse collection. 3. Mains drainage fees. 4. Income tax or income tax for non-residents. Note, will you pay tax in the UK or in Italy? There's a simple answer to this: appoint a qualified UK-based accountant. 5. Accountancy fees. 6. Community fees, if your property is part of a larger property development or estate. Number 9. Buying property off-plan. Buying an off-plan property inevitably involves a higher risk than buying a resale property. Note, therefore, appoint a competent solicitor to deal with the following. If you're considering buying an off-plan property or a property under construction, there are a number of points you should be aware of. 1. Don't make any payments to the developer or others without a bank guarantee. 2. Ensure that the sales contract you sign with the developer states their obligation to return all advanced amounts, plus interest to you, the purchaser, if the construction is not started, or isn't completed within the deadline stated in the contract, or if the habitation certificate is not granted. 3. Check the terms of the bank guarantee thoroughly before making any payments in respect of the property. 4. Ensure that the financial institution issuing the guarantee is authorized to offer financial guarantees in Italy, before making any payments. Contact an independent local lawyer or financial advisor to confirm this detail for you. 5. When making stage payments, keep copies of all receipts detailing the exact amount you've paid. 6. Keep copies of all documentation relevant to the purchase of the property, and the obligations of the developer, in case the property is not completed and you need to execute the bank guarantee. 7. Seek independent legal advice if the developer hasn't complied with the contract, and you want to rescind it. As mentioned above, but it's worth repeating here, appoint a competent solicitor, because if anything goes wrong and you become a victim of fraud, and you have, for example, no insurance policy and/or bank guarantee in place, you'll be able to seek independent legal advice and take legal action through the courts. For further information and property fraud guidance, check out the URL link in the description box below this video. Number 10. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office (FCO). The FCO and British embassies and high commissions in Italy have no jurisdiction or authority to become involved in private legal matters in Italy, including those connected to property and financial disputes, and neither can they intervene in the legal processes of Italy, or mediate on your behalf. However, the FCO do provide lists of English-speaking lawyers, interpreters and translators, details of which you can find by clicking on the URL link in the description box below this video. Now, most of these considerations, if not all of them, as set out in number 1 to number 10 above, will still be valid, irrespective of whether the UK leaves or stays in the EU. If you'd like to find out more about buying property in Italy, I've put together a playlist of videos on the Expat Essentials for Italy YouTube channel, which you can access by clicking on the URL link in the description box below this video. And finally, disclaimer, kindly note that all of the above and any following information is provided as a guide only. Buying property after Brexit. You can buy property or land in Italy if you're 1. An EU citizen. 2. A national from outside the EU who is fully resident or has a valid permit of stay in Italy. 3. A national from a country that Italy has a reciprocal agreement with, and who's resident outside of Italy. According to the gov.uk website, the UK government will be seeking a reciprocal agreement with Italy to make sure that UK nationals, who are not resident in Italy, can continue to buy property in Italy after Brexit. The gov.uk website will be updated when there's more information available, so keep an eye out by signing up to the gov.uk website Get Email Alerts service, which you can access by clicking on the URL link in the description box below this video. To help you prepare for the 31st of October Brexit deadline, we've prepared a handy checklist for you to easily refer to, as a reminder of any issues you need to urgently deal with. You can download it by clicking on the URL link below this video. If La Dolce Vita lifestyle in Italy is still your dream, irrespective of what happens with Brexit, then to ensure you don't miss out on future videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then hit the bell icon to be the first to be notified. Plus, don't forget to share these videos with friends, family, business colleagues and associates. Thanks for watching, and make it a great day. Until next time, ciao for now.